Good day, everyone. I am Kathleen Salita, and I will be discussing selected response assessment, specifically the true or false questions. To start off, let's remind ourselves what assessment really means. It goes beyond traditional exams and quizzes. So, assessment is basically a way for teachers to see what students already know and to track their progress. Its purpose is not just to measure, but to guide learning that will help students to reflect and take an active role in their own learning. Now, let's narrow it down. One major type of assessment is what we call selected response. These are tests where the student is given a question and then chooses the best answer from a set of options. So you are selecting instead of producing your own response like you would in an essay. So Nielsen in 2016 says selected response tests are great for checking if students remember and understand lessons. They are objective since there's usually one right answer, making grading easy. The downside is they don't measure higher level skills, but they are still practical. That's why teachers use them a lot. Under selected response, we've got different types. That is multiple choice, matching type, fill in the blank, and of course, true or false. For this presentation, I'll focus on the latter. True or false questions are simple statements where students decide if they are correct or not. Since there are only two choices, they are considered objective. They are commonly used since they are the easiest to make and also the easiest to grade. Moreover, a modified true or false assessment is a type of test that combines both selected response and constructed response formats. In this assessment, students first determine if a statement is true or false. If they choose false, they then have to correct the statement to make it true. Let's talk about the advantages first. One advantage of true or false questions is efficiency. They cover a lot of content in a little time. Dresser in 2023 notes students can answer 3 to 4 items per minute so teachers can check their knowledge quickly. They also help spot misconceptions since wrong answers show where students are confused. On the other hand, there are disadvantages too. The biggest one is that students can just guess. With only two options, there's a 50-50 chance of being correct without actually knowing the answer. That makes this type less reliable compared to other questions forms. Another limitation is that if a student gets it wrong, the teacher doesn't really know what part of the concept was misunderstood. It is just wrong without much explanation. Another is it cannot assess student ability to produce original ideas, provide examples, or articulate explanations. So then, the question is, why is it important? The answer is that true or false questions are practical and versatile. They allow us to quickly test retention of key facts and concepts, and they are especially useful when time is short. They also work well as quick checks or discussion starters. So just imagine giving students a few true or false statements at the start of the class, and right away you'll see what they know, and you can use their answers to guide the lesson. Now let's go to the how. How do we actually prepare or construct good true or false items? There are several guidelines. First, the statements have to be clear and unambiguous. Each one should be either definitely true or definitely false. No gray areas. Words like sometimes or usually should be avoided because they make the statement tricky. Second, keep the item short and direct. Don't combine multiple ideas in one sentence because that just confuses learners. Third, avoid using negative in true or false items since they confuse students. You can also add rigor by asking them to correct false statements instead of just guessing. So Tresser in 2023 notes that if a test relies a lot on true or false, there should be plenty of items to reduce the chances of students passing just by guessing. Finally, to apply this, I'll connect it to my assigned grade level and topic which is mga tungkulin ng pamilya sa bayan for grade 7 quarter 2. So, let's connect true or false assessment directly. The content standard here says, natutuhan na mag-aaral ang pag-unawa sa mga tungkulin ng pamilya sa bayan. The performance standard expects learners to show how they themselves can fulfill these responsibilities as part of nationalism. And the learning competencies focus on three things. First, natutukoy rito ang paraan ng pamilya sa pagtupad ng tungkulin sa bayan. Second, na ipapaliwanag rito na ang tungkulin ng pamilya ay ambag sa kabutihan at kaunlaran ng pamayanan. And lastly, na isasagawa rito ang sariling paraan ng pagtulong bilang bahagi ng pamilya. Now, when I construct test items, I need to make sure they align with these competencies. First item is competency A, which is under knowledge domain. Ang pagbabayad ng buwis ng pamilya ay isang paraan ng pagtupad sa tungkulin nito sa bayan, which is true. Why? This directly recalls a correct example of a family duty. Second item is competency B under understanding domain. Kung hindi nakikilahok ang pamilya sa mga programang pangkalinisan ng barangay, wala itong magiging epekto sa kalusugan ng komunidad. That is false. This tests understanding because students must recognize the consequence, which is the health impact. A wrong assumption is embedded, so learners must analyze it. Third is competency B under knowledge. Ang pagtutulungan ng pamilya sa gawaing pangkomunidad ay hindi maituturing na contribution sa pamayanan, which is false. This is knowledge recall but phrased negatively. Students must remember the correct idea that cooperation is a form of contribution. Fourth, competency C, under application, ang simpleng pagsunod ko sa mga alintuntunin ng paaralan ay maaari ring ituring na pagtulong ng aming pamilya sa bayan. That is true. Application, since students apply the family's role to their personal action. And lastly, competency C, under application domain, which is situational naman, kahit na tinatapon ko kung saan-saan ang basura basta't malay sa bahay namin, natutulungan ko pa rin ang aming komunidad. That is false. This checks application in a negative scenario. Students must apply their learning to see that irresponsible waste disposal actually harms, not helps the community. So overall, true or false questions may look simple, but if done right, they can be powerful tools for checking, understanding, and addressing misconceptions and keeping learners engaged. These are also very teacher friendly. The main thing is to balance them with other types of assessment so we can capture both the knowledge and the deeper skills of our students. Here are the references I use. That's it. Thank you for watching.